In this video, we are going to discuss emergency evacuation for visually impaired individuals who have a service dog. We understand that emergencies can happen at any time, so it's crucial to be prepared. We will guide you through 4 steps of emergency preparedness to include preparation, communication, evacuation, and safe location. Let's begin, and here are the steps for a safe evacuation, ensuring both you and your service dog's well-being. Step 1. Preparation. Before an emergency occurs, it's important to be prepared, so here are a few steps you can take. Keep emergency kits for both you and your dog ready to go. For the human kit, watch our video on building a Go kit. Now for your dog's kit, we would like to introduce Nancy Stevens. She is a program coordinator for Central Oregon Disability Support Network, and she'll go over the items she includes in her service dog Winnie's Emergency Go Kit.
I'm Nancy Stevens, and my dog Winnipeg is my guide dog. She's been with me for almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in September. And if we had an emergency, one of the first things I would do is make sure I have the items for her so that I know she's going to be comfortable if we have to go to a shelter or something like that. And so what I have with me is a paper that it's what I take when I fly, and it just gives that she has had her rabies shots and where she was trained and that sort of thing. And I also have her guide dog ID, and so that is helpful just so that if people want to see, they know that she has been trained. People do not have to show ID, but I think it's helpful. On my phone, I have
screen turned on, screen turned off.
There. So that is kind of the same form as this piece of paper, but just in case I couldn't find it or something like that. In the video, we talk about having at least 3 days worth. I would say maybe have a week's worth of dog food just to make sure that you have enough food so that the dog is comfortable. If you feed them twice a day, if you can stick to the schedule that you feed them at home, even if you're in a shelter, that helps them have a little bit of a routine. So I have a week's worth of dog food here, and then what goes in must come out. So we have the bag of poop bags, because it's super important when you're with your dog, especially at a shelter or something. You want to find a place, and this is good to ask the volunteers, where's a good place for me to relieve the dog that's going to be out of the way of other guests at the shelter? If they can provide a trash can near the place where you're going to be relieving the dog so that you can pick up after your dog, that's super important for people who want to just see a quick demonstration. The dog will squat down. I put this bag on my hand. I can reach down, pick up the poop and fold it up and throw it away. So there's no excuse for not picking up after your dog. It's very important, especially in a situation where you're around a lot of other people. I also have with this bag, I bring a bit of paper towel with me. We hope that this doesn't happen, but sometimes there might be an accident. If you have your paper towels so that you can clean up after your dog, if they happen to go on the floor or something in the shelter. Yeah, you would never do that, would you? No, haha. You have had your share. Anyway, So those are the important things for feeding and watering the dog. Bring a dish, and then you want to be able to groom your dog. And so I have in this little fanny pack, which I would put in the kit, is her brushes and a comb. This brush, I just use the brush and the comb. If I brush her often, it doesn't take more than 5 minutes or so, to maybe 10, to just make sure she's not getting hair everywhere. And here's her little toothbrush. Put it on my finger, brush her teeth. Just having stuff, the routine things that I do with her so that she is comfortable. So that's what goes in her Go kit.
Create a communication plan. Share your emergency contact information with a trusted neighbor or family member. Again, we encourage you to watch our video on a family communication plan. Familiarize yourself with evacuation routes. Memorize the layouts of your home, including exits and potential obstacles. Install tactile markings. Use adhesive tape or raised markers to identify important areas, such as light switches, fire extinguishers, and emergency exits. Step 2. Communication. During an evacuation, clear communication between the human and their service dog is vital. Let's see how Nancy and Winnie handle it during Step 3, which is the actual evacuation. First, you'll want to put on your shoes and make sure you have your emergency Go kits ready. Next, you'll attach your leash to your service dog and ensure they are wearing their identification tags.
Got you. Good girl. Very good girl. Hey. Just a second.
Then determine the safest evacuation route. Use tactile markings and rely on your memory to navigate obstacles. Maintain physical contact with your service dog. This ensures they stay by your side, guiding and alerting you to potential hazards. If possible, inform emergency responders or neighbors that you have a service dog with you during evacuation. At this point, Nancy demonstrates meeting the person who will take her to a safe location, as well as entering and exiting the vehicle.
Curtis, are you my ride to the shelter?
Yes, I am.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate you picking me up.
You betcha.
Is it okay if Winnie rides at my...
Of course, that would be perfect.
Good girl, Winnie. Good girl. Forward. Good dog. Left. Forward. Right. Would you like my stuff in the back of the car, or it is? Good girl, Winnie. Good girl, Kate. Get my watch face. Okay. That's how that works.
Practice mobility exercises with your support person so they're better prepared to help you during a potentially hectic time. Let's pay attention as Nancy instructs Stephanie on how to provide guidance while walking in a crowded area.
Next to mine. There we go. And then I will grab your elbow just above your elbow, arm just above your elbow. And if you walk just a little ahead of me, and I'll heel Winnie. Good girl, Winnie, heel. And then if there's any steps or if there's a skinny area, if you'll just put your arm behind you like this, then I'll get behind you. So take this arm and go behind, and I can still heel Winnie. And then when it's not crowded or not too skinny, then I can just walk next to you. Okay. Just relax your arm. And this will be really helpful if it's a crowded area that I don't know. Then it's helpful to have someone guide me when it's a little chaotic and things.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
some other things that you could do, if there's a chair, if you can just take my wrist and put my hand on the back of a chair, which we can demonstrate.
Okay.
And then there's one other thing that we could do if it's not too crowded, and I want to just work Winnie. One thing that we can do is you could walk in front of me and give me directions.
Okay.
And so we could like go back and we're turning around, and I'll just follow you, and then just tell me, and then I'll give directions to Winnie. So don't ever call somebody's working dog.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So we're going forward.
Winnie forward, follow.
And then we're going to turn right.
Winnie follow right.
And then we're going to turn left.
Winnie follow left.
And then we're going to go forward again.
Go forward. So that's it.
Step 4. Safe location. Let's listen as Nancy explains what to do once you reach a safe location like a shelter, and what you can do to become quickly acclimated.
I think it's probably going to be helpful. Hopefully, maybe some of the emergency response people will have an idea of how to assist you with your particular disability. But if you have a service dog, it's probably really helpful to remind people not to pet the dog when it's working, if it's in harness. When it's out of harness, for me, that's my rule, then she can play. And so I'll try to give her some times when she's out of harness, but still on leash. And I can actually make her leash a little longer so she can have a little room to play. And then always make sure that I have her clipped to me. So I might put her leash around my ankle. If I'm eating a meal or something, I'll just clip her to me like this. So Winnie, sit right there. Sit down. Yes, thank you. That's a girl. And that way I know where she is. She's not going to wander away. If at night I'm sleeping on a cot, and again, if it's possible, maybe asking if I can get a cot kind of in a corner area so I'm not trying to count cots, and that way she can go under the cot and feel a little bit more secure where she won't get stepped on. And again, I can take the leash. It's a little longer here, but I can just take it and wrap it around the leg of the cot and hook it up so that it keeps her from wandering and she's sticking with me. It's so important that my service dog stays with me, that she behaves herself, even though it's a new environment, new setting. It's important for me to take responsibility to help her stay calm, because she will get her cues from my emotions. So if I'm all revved up, then she's going to be as well. So if I can just remember to take some nice deep breaths and explain to the emergency response workers not to pet her when she's in harness, not to feed her anything. It's really important that you keep very close tabs on what your dog is getting. If there's food on the floor or something like that, you need to know for sure how much water they're getting, how much food they're eating, so that you can make sure they stay pretty close to your schedule as you have at home, so that they can, when they need to go out, and they can not have any accidents, hopefully. Well, hopefully, if there is someone who's available, and with the understanding that it might be a little while because people are super busy probably trying to check people in. And so just for me to be patient and really give space to the people who are working with a lot of other people. It's not just me. And so when it's appropriate, asking for assistance and learning from, say, the entrance that I came in to where the cot is. That's kind of my home base. And then having her be familiar with it too, so that I can find it and know that here's the corner that we are in. If it's near a door, that would be helpful too, just in case we would need to evacuate again. And if the person can, as we showed earlier, how to do sighted guide, or have the dog follow, start from the entrance, find the cot, and then find the restroom. Where's the restroom from the say gymnasium or the room that I'm staying in? Find the restroom, find the check-in table or the information table. Where is the cafeteria, or where do we pick up our box lunches? And again, just using the entrance door as a reference point is really helpful. There are going to be lots of other people around. They're going to want to pet the dog too, and be nice. And, sometimes I'll actually, especially for little kids who don't maybe have the understanding of, you can't pet the dog when it's in harness. Some of them maybe had to leave their dogs behind or something. And so sometimes I will take her out of harness. I'll sit on the floor with a little person and just let them pet her. But that's kind of at my discretion, what's going to work the best. If we're in the food line, obviously that's not a really good idea. But just being respectful of everybody else's emotions too, and but being firm. No, you can't pet the dog. She's in harness. Please don't feed the dog. And sometimes people will ask things like, well, how do you know when she has to go out? And I generally take her out after each meal. I take her out after I give her water. And I take her out 4 to 5 times a day. So that's why it's important for me. One other thing to establish is the relieving area for service dogs at a shelter. So make sure it's a place out of the way. Make sure there's a trash can. Hopefully people will have brought their own bags to pick up the dog doo. But if they didn't, if you have a few bags there so that people can pick up after their dogs, that's really important. Some dogs will go on cement, but oftentimes they won't. And sometimes it's hard if they're in a unusual area and they can feel the vibe of people being nervous and things like that. Sometimes it will take a little extra time for the dogs to go, so be patient. With her, I put her on leash, I make it long, and I let her circle around me, and then I can figure out where she has gone and pick up after her. So even in the relieving area, leave your dog on leash, let them use the restroom, let them go to the bathroom, and keep them with you at all times, whether they're tied to you, or whether the leash is in your hand, or whether it's tied to a piece of furniture, that I know exactly where she is and what she's got. And so I like to have her bone because she likes to have something in her mouth.
And there you have it, a guide on how visually impaired individuals with service dogs can safely evacuate their homes during emergencies. Remember, preparation, communication, and staying calm are key. By following these steps, you and your service dog can navigate any evacuation successfully. This wraps up another video about getting informed as it relates to your emergency preparedness. Check out our website to learn more about getting informed, making a plan, building a kit, and staying informed so that your family's prepared when a disaster happens.